Hello everyone, I am Norm the Artist, and this video is about life alterations. Life alterations is something we do to change the outcome of our life and the way we are living it. Sometimes we choose this ourselves. That can, for example, be if you choose to become vegan and buy an electrical car to try and lower your carbon footprint. At other times we are forced into doing these changes. That is when things in our life become so bad that we are no longer capable of living a healthy life. Recently I quit my job to focus all my energy on becoming an artist. The reason behind that goes into the last category. Now, this decision has unfortunately been a very long process for me, simply because it's very hard to admit to yourself that you're no longer capable of doing the job that you love. Major cuts have been done to the Danish healthcare system, which has rapidly harshened the work conditions for nurses. Some years back they decided to build new super hospitals here in Denmark, and the only super thing about them is that they are super expensive. Basically they can no longer afford the staff that are needed in the hospitals. This has further hastened the work condition for the nurses and the other staff in the hospital. The work condition has now become so bad that it's not only the staff that are affected, but also the patient. The patients are no longer getting the care that they need, simply because that the nurses are incapable of doing all the things that are needed to be done. The nurses are running faster and faster, and they keep battling with bad conscience about all the things that they did not manage to do, or the things they are forced into not doing because of lack of time. In the Danish healthcare system, nurses not only have to take care of the patients while they are in the hospital, they also have to arrange the care that they need after the hospital. This is a process that takes a lot of time, and a lot of time away from the patient. I worked in the department for the elderly, which means that every single patient who came through there needed to have some sort of care arranged for when they were leaving the hospital. The work conditions have become so bad that at least one person every day do not have the time to eat their lunch. And at least once a week a nurse breaks down and cries. In the department I worked at, 16 people have been down with stress over a 3-year period of time. That is more than 5 people a year. It is not only the psychological work pressure that is a problem, but after our department moved to the brand new hospital, it is also the physical. Before we moved, we worked in a very old hospital where the buildings are more than 100 years old. I would rather work in those old buildings than the brand new hospital. The mere distance between things at the new hospital has become longer, which means that a nurse per shift walks up to 3 kilometers longer than they normally do. That is more than 2 miles. The department has been split into 2 hallways. These hallways are so isolated from each other that if you work at one of them, you have absolutely no idea what's going on the other side. Where we before had the opportunity to help each other, we are now often forced into doing a 2-man's job alone, merely because we are unable to find the help that we need. It is in all of the patient's rooms impossible to cover all of the windows, which means that every time the sun is shining, both patients and staff are being blinded. And if you think that you can help the patient from the other side, then guess again, because there is of course a mirror on the opposite wall which reflects the sunlight. The hospital is also built without an air condition. Now, we have had an unusual hot summer in most of Europe. This means that at a brand new hospital, it is not possible to lower the temperature lower than the temperature is outside. Now, this summer it has been between 35 and 37 degrees Celsius outside, that is approximately around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Which means that inside it has been the exact same temperature. Now, having patients with a fever is quite problematical when they are lying in a room which is 37 degrees hot. The new hospital has also been color-coded, and our department was so unlucky that they ended up in the orange part of the hospital. When I say orange, I mean that the floor is so orange that the white ceiling looks orange. Now here's a picture. Orange is not a common color if you are already stressed. Of other things to mention are that the kitchen to the department where I worked is situated in a different building because the architects forgot that they were needed. The staff room is so small that there is not enough room for people to eat their lunch. Also, there are not enough computers for the staff during a day shift. The light in the hallways cannot be dimmed, and there is of course a window in each door into each patient room, which is extremely problematic when you have a delirious patient. If you want to change the light in the room, there is no switch on the wall for you to do so. Instead, you have to find an 8-digit code on the door to the room, then you have to log into a computer, then you have to log into a program with this code, and then you are able to change the light. This is only temporarily, because if you leave the room, the light will go back to what it was before. Also worth mentioning is that there are not enough staff to take care of the delirious patients and the patients with Alzheimer's, and we are of course talking about the department for the elderly. Extra help is not possible because of economical cuts. All of these conditions and even more have made it so that a lot of the staff have chosen to leave the department and find a job elsewhere. These are the staff with the most routine. In their place, it has only been possible for the department to hire brand new nurses right out of nurse school. I do not in any way complain about these nurses. What I'm complaining about is that there is no time in the department to teach these nurses the skills and techniques that they need to know to take care of the patients. During their workday, these new nurses will often find them in situations where they do not have the knowledge, technique that are needed to carry out a specific care. There's not enough time for these nurses to acquire the knowledge they need to carry out these specific types of care. Therefore, they of course do the most natural thing, and they ask the few staff left who actually have the knowledge, technique and routine that are needed. This can become quite stressful for these few staff with the knowledge, because they not only have to take care of their own patients, they have to take care of other nurses' patients too. Again, this is not a complaint about these new nurses. This is a complaint towards the department, who are not embracing the fact that most of the staff is brand new and do not have the knowledge that they need. They do not give the time for these people to actually learn everything needed, and therefore it is a burden for the rest of the staff. So in the end, something had to be done and changes had to be made for me to be able to live my life. I have for a very long time been doodling with some art at home, and it has been a huge passion of mine. Because of friends that I have who works in the arts, I have been extremely inspired to do the same thing. Therefore, I have chosen to stop working as a nurse and concentrate on my arts. I really do hope that this is something I can make a living of, because of now I'm living off savings. So, if you ever find yourself in a situation similar to mine, where your job is no longer your passion and it starts affecting your everyday life, don't do as I did, because I let it go on for years, and that will bring you down. So get up and change things, do what's needed to be done, because a work should never be a sacrifice. I do, of course, have to take an education in fine arts, which I will do. This is something that takes 4 years. So during this time, I will of course be making videos for you to follow me on my road, my little journey to become an artist. And I really do hope that you will follow me, support me, and leave a like if you liked it, or maybe even subscribe. And until next time, cheers everyone.